Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at another horrible case with you. We are taught by our parents at home and our teachers at school that as human beings we must prioritize humanity above all else and help others in times of trouble. However, sometimes helping someone and standing by them during difficult times can come at a great cost. Every person experiences moments of sorrow, pain, and loneliness at some point in life. While some people overcome these challenges by treating them as just another difficult chapter of life, others lose their mental stability during such times. Today, we are going to talk about an incident where 29 pieces of a human body were found scattered in different parts of the city, leaving the police administration in a state of shock. On the southwestern coast of India, along the Arabian Sea, lies a beautiful state known as Karnataka. Karnataka is famous for its beaches, temples, natural beauty, and being the largest coffee-producing state in India. Within this state, on the western coast of India, is a major industrial port city called Mangalore, also officially known as Mangaluru. In this city, in a locality called Kadri, a man named Somesh sets up a small shop outside a park, selling miscellaneous items inside a tiny tent. The date was May 12, 2019. It was early morning and Somesh had arrived to open his shop. But before he could remove the tent covering his stall, he noticed two medium-sized plastic sacks lying outside. This seemed very strange to him because when he had locked up his shop and gone home the previous night, these sacks were not there. However, as soon as Somesh tried to move one of the sacks aside, the rope tied around it loosened and a bike helmet rolled out. The moment he saw what was inside the helmet, he was horrified. Inside was the severed head of a woman. Terrified, he didn't dare to touch the second sack and immediately called the police. The Kadri police station officers rushed to the reported location. By then, a crowd of local residents had gathered around the park, curious to know what had happened. The police had also brought along forensic experts who carefully secured the woman's head before too many people could see it. But when the officers opened the second sack, they found more human body parts inside, including both hands and several smaller pieces of the torso. Soon, this shocking news spread like wildfire across the city through social media and news channels. Human remains had been discovered near Kadri Park. By now, the police were well aware that they were about to open a murder case that would give them many sleepless nights. They immediately called in sniffer dogs to thoroughly inspect the area, ensuring that no other body parts were left behind. However, despite a thorough search, they found nothing else in that location. The recovered body parts were then sent to the forensic laboratory at Wenlock District Hospital for further analysis. Meanwhile, approximately 2 miles away from Kadri, in an area called Nandi Guda, a Christian cemetery worker made a phone call to the local police. The cemetery worker informs the police, "There's a sack lying in our cemetery and some red liquid is seeping out of it." The local police arrive at the scene, and when they open the sack to inspect it, they find dismembered human body parts inside. By this time, the local police have already received information that similar human remains were discovered about 2 miles away in the Kadri area. This makes them wonder if these body parts might be related to the same corpse. As a result, they contact the Kadri police station, and after discussing the matter, they send the remains found in the cemetery to the forensic laboratory at Wenlock District Hospital. News spreads rapidly that human body parts have also been discovered in a cemetery in the Nandi Guda area. This leads to growing panic among the general public. To control the situation, the Mangalore Police Commissioner, the city's highest-ranking officer, forms a team of 30 police officers. So far, the police have found a woman's head, both hands and some torso fragments, but the arms, legs, and feet are still missing. After examining the recovered body parts, forensic experts confirm that all the remains belong to the same person. They also conclude that the body is indeed that of a woman, estimated to be between 35 and 40 years old. Additionally, forensic experts determine that the murder took place only 24 to 30 hours ago, meaning the crime occurred around May 11, 2019. In most cases, after discovering a dead body, the police focus on finding the killer. However, in this case, before identifying the murderer, it is crucial to determine the victim's identity. Therefore, the police notify all Mangalore police stations, stating, "We have found human body parts. If anyone has reported a missing woman aged 35 to 40 in the past few days, please inform us immediately." Meanwhile, a man arrives at the Kadri police station. He states, "My sister has been missing since the morning of May 11th. She left for work on her scooter yesterday morning. Usually, she closes her shop by 9 p.m. and returns home. My sister owns an electrical repair shop in the Atavar area of Mangalore, and like every day, she left her house around 9 a.m. yesterday to go to work. However, she never arrived at her shop. When she didn't show up, her employees called her, but she didn't answer any calls. Eventually, they called me. When I also tried to contact her, she didn't answer my calls either." After hearing this, the police ask the man for some personal details about his sister, including her name, age, last seen clothing, and physical appearance. He replies, "My sister's name is Srimati Shetty, and she is about 37 years old." Upon hearing this, the officers at the Kadri police station immediately inform the investigating officer handling the case that a man has come to report his 37-year-old sister missing. The investigating officer then instructs Srimati's brother to come to Wenlock District Hospital. Now, the officers from Kadri police station take Srimati's brother to Wenlock District Hospital, where he meets the investigating officer examining the human body parts found in sacks. After that, the investigating officer takes Srimati's brother to the hospital morgue and shows him the severed head. The moment he sees it, Srimati's brother is devastated and starts crying because the head belonged to his sister, Srimati Shetty. The police officers then offer him some water and ask him to inform the rest of his relatives. Sometime later, Srimati's brother informs their parents about it as well. For the police, the breakthrough was that they could at least identify the body from the human remains found near Kadri Park and Nandiguda. Now, in order to track down the killers, they began gathering information about Srimati's background from her brother. In any case investigation, knowing the victim's background is crucial as it greatly helps in solving the case. Moving forward, Srimati's brother reveals that his sister, Srimati Shetty, had been living in Mangalore's Atavar area for some time with their father's elder sister. Srimati had been married twice. Her first marriage lasted only a short time because, soon after the wedding, conflicts began to arise between her and her husband, eventually leading to their divorce. During this period, however, Srimati Shetty opened an electrical appliance repair shop under the name Sri Polali Electrical and Electronic Sales and Services. Now, every day around 9 a.m., she would go to her shop and return home at around the same time at night. After divorcing her first husband, this routine continued for a long time where she would only travel between her home and work. But after some time, another man named Sudeep entered her life, and with his arrival, Srimati once again seemed happy. Because of this, she wanted to marry Sudeep, but her family opposed the marriage, as Sudeep was a distant relative. However, Srimati went against her family's wishes and married Sudeep, after which she started living with him. But this marriage too did not last long. After spending some time together, Srimati discovered Sudeep's true character. As a result, in 2017, she filed for divorce from him as well. At this point, the police had not yet recovered Srimati's entire dead body. The condition of the severed pieces of her corpse made it evident that she had been killed with extreme hatred. Meanwhile, Srimati's brother told the police that her first marriage had ended due to ongoing conflicts with her husband. He also informed them that Srimati had divorced Sudeep because of his bad character. This led the police to suspect both of Srimati Shetty's former husbands. They first interrogated her first husband, who stated that after divorcing Srimati, he had no further contact with her. He claimed he had never called her nor met her in person. Given his statements, the police examined his call detail records along with his location history for May 11th and 12th. After reviewing this technical evidence, the police became convinced that he was telling the truth. In reality, he had last contacted Srimati before their divorce, and his location on May 11th and 12th matched what he had claimed. After that, the police began investigating Srimati Shetty's second husband, Sudeep, only to discover that he was in jail. It turned out that Sudeep had multiple theft cases registered against him at different police stations, and it was because of this bad character that Srimati had divorced him. But when the police spoke to Sudeep and checked his records from the past few days, they discovered that he had been in jail for quite some time. Moreover, after talking to him, the police felt that he had no reason to kill Srimati. With this, both of Srimati's husbands were proven innocent in the eyes of the police. But the question still remained: who killed Srimati, when, and why? In this way, the entire day of May 12th passed, yet the police had not found a single piece of evidence regarding Srimati Shetty's killers. However, on the morning of May 13th, police stations across different areas of Mangalore started receiving calls about the discovery of human body parts. These areas included KPT Junction, Paduva Hostel, and Varman Nayak Road. When the police arrived at these locations, they found multiple sacks containing severed arms, legs, and feet. They immediately sent all these remains to Wenlock District Hospital, and in this manner, Srimati's body was pieced together. At this point, the case was transferred from the Kadri police station to the Atavar police station. Now, the Atavar police obtained Srimati's phone number from her family and retrieved her complete call detail records along with her location history. In addition, the police also questioned the employees at Srimati's shop, and here they uncovered something they had not known before. Since Srimati lived alone, had minimal expenses, and her shop was running quite successfully, she used to lend money to people on interest. She had even maintained a diary listing the names of those she had given money to, who had repaid their debts in full, and how much was still owed by others. Upon discovering this, the police suspected that someone who had borrowed money from Srimati might have killed her to avoid paying back the debt. With this lead, they began questioning various individuals and spoke to nearly 20 people, but they still found no clues. By now, the police had been searching for Srimati's killers for over 24 hours, but had not found any evidence. Meanwhile, the way her dismembered body was discovered had instilled fear among the general public. Due to this, senior police officials started pressuring the investigating officer, Inspector Mahesh M., to solve the case as soon as possible. Following these orders, the officer intensified the investigation. He decided to examine all the CCTV footage from the cameras installed along the route from Srimati Shetty's house to her shop. Upon speaking with the family members, the Atavar police learned that while Srimati usually traveled to her shop by car, on May 11th, she went to her shop on her TVS Jupiter scooter. After discovering this, the police first started reviewing the CCTV cameras installed around Srimati's house. From the footage, they found that on the morning of May 11th, Srimati was wearing a black top and white trousers. She left her house at around 9 a.m., but instead of heading toward her shop, she took a right turn from Valencia Circle via Roshni Malay and entered an area called Sutarpet. However, upon further investigation of cameras in that area, Srimati was nowhere to be seen. This meant that she was last seen in Sutarpet, and on top of that, her phone's last known location was also in the same area. Following this, Officer Mahesh, who was leading the investigation, assigned a few police officers to search for Srimati Shetty's scooter in the area where she was last seen. On the evening of May 13th, some officers arrived at the location where Srimati Shetty was last spotted. After searching the area for a while, some officers noticed a garage. Outside the garage, several vehicles were parked for repairs, including a maroon-colored TVS Jupiter scooter. When the police checked its license plate, they found that the number matched Srimati's scooter. To confirm, they officially verified the registration number, which also revealed that the scooter was registered in Srimati Shetty's name. When the police thoroughly inspected the scooter, they noticed some bloodstains on the rear wheel. Additionally, inside the scooter's storage compartment, they found a tiffin box, a bank passbook, a charger, and a handkerchief. Meanwhile, the police were reviewing multiple CCTV footages from the Sutur Pit area where Srimati was last seen. During this process, an officer came across a crucial CCTV clip that was only 2 seconds long. In this footage, Srimati is seen sitting on her scooter while another man on a scooter is standing beside her. Srimati says a single line to the man on the scooter, and then she immediately leaves. However, just seconds later in the footage, the police noticed that the man also took off on his scooter, following Srimati. There was nothing in the footage that could make the police suspect the man because the two appeared to be having a normal conversation at that moment. Still, at this point, the police felt that they had reviewed several hours of footage and spoken to dozens of people but had yet to find any concrete lead. As a result, their focus ultimately shifted to this 2-second clip. Actually, the police now decide to check who exactly the person was that Srimati spoke to for 2 seconds. To do this, they try to look at the registration number of the man's scooter because he was wearing a helmet, which made it impossible to see his face. The police then enhance the CCTV footage further and note down the scooter's number. After this, they find out that the scooter is registered under the name of a man named Jonas Sampson. Using this registration number, the police obtain Sampson's address and reach his house by the evening of May 15th. Sampson's house was located on 9th Cross Road in Sutur Pit. When the police knocked on his door, he was the one who opened it. However, the moment he saw the officers, he immediately shut the door from the inside. This reaction made the police certain that something was wrong. Additionally, Sampson's sudden act of locking the door raised concerns that he might harm himself out of fear or attempt to escape. For this reason, the police quickly broke down the door and entered the house, only to find Jonas Sampson attacking his own head with a knife. Fortunately, the officers stopped him just in time and restrained him. Due to the injuries he had inflicted on his head, he had to be admitted to the hospital. However, 2 to 3 days later, when Jonas Sampson recovered, the police took him straight from the hospital to the police station. There, he was subjected to intense questioning, with the first and foremost question being, "What is your connection to Srimati Shetty?" Sampson then revealed that until some time ago, he had been living in the Atavar area with his 46-year-old wife, Victoria Matthias. He wanted to start a business there, but he did not have enough money. During this time, he learned that a woman named Srimati Shetty, who lived nearby, lent money on interest. Upon discovering this, Sampson borrowed 100,000 Indian rupees, approximately $1,150 from her. The police then opened the ledger in which Srimati Shetty recorded the names of people to whom she had loaned money. Among these names was Jonas Sampson, but she had only written his surname, Sampson. There were several people with the same surname in that area. The police then asked him directly whether he had murdered Srimati Shetty, but Sampson denied it. However, when the officers presented the CCTV footage and asked him what Srimati had said to him in those 2 seconds, Jonas Sampson finally broke down. He then revealed a horrifying story, one so shocking that even investigating officer Inspector Mahesh was left stunned. At the beginning of 2018, Jonas Sampson borrowed 100,000 rupees on interest from Srimati Shetty to start his business. By profession, Jonas Samson was a butcher, so he came up with the idea of opening a mobile restaurant. However, he was short on funds to launch the business because he needed a food van, utensils, a significant amount of initial supplies, and a chef. But as soon as Samson borrowed the money from Srimati and started his mobile restaurant, it quickly gained popularity. Samson actually hired a chef from North India who was an exceptional cook, and the pork kebabs he made became very famous among the locals. Every day, Samson handled the procurement of supplies and prepared raw ingredients, while the chef added spices and cooked the food. The chef had a magical touch, and it was because of him that Jonas Samson's restaurant took off. Due to the delicious taste of the food, many customers became regulars. During this time, Samson managed to repay 40,000 rupees of his 100,000 rupees loan, which was around $460. Now, he only had 60,000 rupees left to repay, which was approximately $690. However, during this period, the chef suddenly took a few days off and went back to his hometown, but he never returned. Perhaps he had opened a small restaurant of his own back home. Meanwhile, Jonas Samson was unable to prepare kebabs as skillfully as the chef, and as a result, customers gradually stopped coming to his restaurant. Because of this, in March 2019, Jonas Samson had to shut down his business, and since the beginning of 2019, he had not repaid Srimati's money. Srimati had a habit of publicly humiliating anyone who failed to repay her on time. She did this so that the person would feel embarrassed and return her money as soon as possible. For this reason, when Srimati did not receive any payments from Samson for several months, she began calling him repeatedly. Meanwhile, Samson and his wife, Pallavi, were in such dire financial straits that they couldn't even afford their rent, prompting their landlord to ask them to vacate the house. Amid these circumstances, Srimati Shetty visited Samson's house a couple of times and humiliated him badly in front of his wife, Victoria. Following this, Victoria also urged him to find a new job quickly and repay the money. Otherwise, Srimati would continue harassing them in the same manner. Hearing this, Samson felt a sense of shame and began searching for a new job. But then, on the evening of May 10th, Srimati once again texted Samson saying, "Tomorrow I will come to your house to collect the money, and if you don't pay me, the consequences will be very bad." However, Samson replied to her text, saying, "Please don't come to my house right now because I don't have the money at the moment. I will return all your money in a little while." But Samson knew that his words would not make any difference to Srimati Shetty, and that she would definitely come to his house to collect the money. Because of this, Jonas Samson decided that he would leave before Srimati arrived at his house. However, on the morning of May 11th, just as Samson was leaving on his scooter, Srimati, who was on her way to his house, spotted him. At that moment, Srimati told him that she was heading to his house, to which Samson responded, "You go ahead, I will be there in 2 minutes after picking up something from the store." It is worth mentioning that their conversation took place at the exact moment they were recorded on CCTV footage for just 2 seconds. After this, as soon as Samson reached home, Srimati started humiliating him in front of his wife, Victoria. Samson tried to reason with her, but she refused to listen, which made him furious. In a fit of rage, Samson picked up a thick wooden stick lying nearby and struck Srimati hard on the head. As a result of the blow, Srimati Shetty immediately lost consciousness, and Samson's wife, Victoria, witnessed everything with her own eyes. After this, Samson, still in a fit of rage, ordered his wife, "Go to the kitchen and bring 2 large knives." Fearful of her husband's anger, Victoria had no choice but to obey him. Samson then dragged Srimati into their bathroom. Since Jonas Samson was a butcher, he had large knives at home, and perhaps for this reason, he found the courage to first slit Srimati's throat. Once both of them were sure that Srimati was dead, they removed the locket from her neck and the rings from her fingers. Jonas Samson then personally dismembered Srimati Shetty's body, even severing her head from the torso. Afterward, they turned on the bathroom shower so that the blood pooled on the floor would wash down the drain. Once darkness fell, Samson placed the dismembered body parts into separate sacks and then disposed of them in different locations using his scooter. Finally, Samson drove Srimati Shetty's scooter a few miles away from his house and parked it outside a garage where other vehicles were also waiting for repairs. Additionally, Samson and his wife burned Srimati's vanity bag and sandals inside their home. On the morning of May 12th, Samson's wife, Victoria, left for her parental home. Now, Jonathan Samson believes that he and his wife will never be caught for this crime because they had made sure Srimati's body was unrecognizable. But Samson is proven wrong, and due to just 2 seconds of CCTV footage, the police track him down, ultimately uncovering the murder. On May 18th, the police take Samson to the locations where he had disposed of Srimati's body parts. Although Samson openly tells the police where he had dumped the remains, his body language makes it clear that he has absolutely no remorse for killing Srimati. Additionally, Samson and his wife Victoria sold all of Srimati's jewelry to a 34-year-old man named Raju. The police later arrested Raju as well and recovered the stolen jewelry from him. Moving forward, the police submit the case charge sheet to the district and sessions court. During the trial, testimonies from around 48 witnesses are recorded. However, the trial faces delays due to the global spread of COVID. Finally, on September 17, 2024, the court announces its verdict, sentencing Jonas Samson and his wife, Victoria Matthias, to life imprisonment. Meanwhile, Raju receives only 6.5 months in prison for possessing stolen goods and is expected to be released in April 2025. However, Jonas Samson, along with his wife, Victoria, may challenge the district and sessions court's decision in the High Court of Karnataka, but only time will tell what happens next. So, with that, the Srimati Shetty murder case comes to an end right here. If you appreciate our efforts, like and share this video. If you haven't subscribed, do so now. Thank you.